Welcome back to the channel, coin collectors and history lovers. Today we are counting down the top 4 Lincoln Wheat penny 1-cent coins from the United States that could be worth big money. If you enjoy coin collecting, rare penny values and discovering hidden treasures, make sure to watch until the end, and do not forget to like, subscribe and comment below. Let's get started. First up, the Lincoln Wheat penny 1-cent coin 1942D mint mark in uncirculated condition from the United States is a fascinating part of American coin collecting history, and it belongs to the historic Lincoln Wheat penny series, which first appeared in 1909 to honor the 100th birthday of Abraham Lincoln. The coin was designed by the skilled sculptor Victor David Brenner, whose portrait of Abraham Lincoln became one of the most famous images ever placed on American money. The 1942D penny was produced at the historic Denver Mint, and the small letter D placed under the date on the obverse side tells collectors that the coin was struck in Denver during the important historical period of the early 1940s, when the United States economy and industry were rapidly changing during the years of global conflict and national mobilization. Yet, even in such dramatic times, millions of pennies continued to be produced to support everyday commerce across the nation, and today collectors admire the 1942D wheat penny, especially when it survives in bright uncirculated condition, because such coins still display the original copper shine, sharp design details, and beautiful mint luster that appeared on the day the coin left the mint press. The design of the 1942D Lincoln Wheat penny remains one of the most iconic designs in the history of American coinage, because the front of the coin shows the dignified portrait of Abraham Lincoln facing right with the words "In God We Trust" above the portrait, the word "Liberty" placed to the left, and the date 1942 with the small D mint mark placed below the date, while the reverse side features 2 graceful wheat stalks surrounding the words 1 cent and United States of America, with the motto E Pluribus Unum positioned above the center. And this elegant arrangement of design elements created a coin that became deeply familiar to generations of Americans who used wheat pennies in daily life for purchases in markets, restaurants, trains, stores, and newspapers stands across the country. And although billions of wheat pennies circulated for decades, collectors today continue to admire the artistry and historical significance of this classic design. The year 1942 itself represents an important moment in United States history, because the nation had recently entered World War II and industries across America were rapidly transforming to support wartime production. Factories produced military equipment, ships, airplanes, and vehicles, while the United States Mint continued striking coins needed for the civilian economy, and the 1942 copper wheat penny became one of the last standard bronze pennies produced before the famous 1943 steel cent appeared the following year due to wartime copper shortages. And because of this historical connection, many collectors view the 1942 wheat penny as a symbolic coin representing the transition between peacetime coinage and the unusual wartime coins that followed. When collectors evaluate a 1942D Lincoln Wheat penny in uncirculated condition, they carefully study the color, luster, and surface preservation of the coin, because copper coins naturally change color as they age, and experts classify them into 3 general color groups known as red, brown, and brown. Coins with full red color are the most desirable because they retain the original bright orange copper shine that existed when the coin first left the mint decades ago. And in addition, collectors look closely at the strength of the strike, the smoothness of the coin fields, and the sharpness of the wheat ears on the reverse side, because well-preserved details indicate a high-quality mint state example that may command higher value in the numismatic marketplace. Professional grading services often examine valuable coins and assign official mint state grades that help determine the quality, rarity, and market value of each piece. And when a 1942D wheat penny receives a grade such as MS65 or higher, collectors become especially interested, because coins in such strong condition are far less common than circulated examples, and once a coin is certified and sealed inside a protective holder, it becomes easier for collectors and investors to trade the coin confidently at auctions, coin shows, and online numismatic markets, where the finest examples often attract competitive bidding. The mintage of the 1942D Lincoln Wheat penny reached hundreds of millions of coins, which means that circulated examples remain fairly common. However, the number of coins that survived in pristine uncirculated condition is significantly smaller, because most coins entered everyday circulation where they experienced wear, scratches, and environmental exposure during years of use, and this natural process gradually reduced the number of high-grade coins available to collectors, making well-preserved mint state examples more desirable and more valuable as the decades passed. Another fascinating aspect of the 1942 wheat penny is the story of how coins were manufactured during the early 1940s. Copper alloy blanks known as planchets were prepared, polished and fed into powerful mechanical presses where engraved steel dies struck the Lincoln portrait and wheat ear design with immense pressure, producing detailed images on both sides of the coin. After striking, the coins were inspected, counted, and distributed through Federal Reserve banks to financial institutions across the country, where they entered the circulation system and became part of everyday economic activity. And imagining this process helps collectors understand the craftsmanship and industrial precision behind the production of even the smallest American coin. For beginner coin collectors, the 1942 wheat penny can be an exciting piece to study because it combines historical significance, beautiful design, and the possibility of finding well-preserved examples in old collections, jars of coins, or inherited family savings. And many collectors enjoy searching through rolls of pennies, hoping to discover bright uncirculated coins that still show strong luster and minimal contact marks, and these discoveries often inspire new collectors to learn more about grading, mint marks, coin preservation, and the wider world of numismatics. The market value of a 1942 Lincoln wheat penny in uncirculated condition can vary depending on grade, color, and eye appeal. Lower mint state coins may sell for a modest price, while coins with strong red color and very high certified grades can reach significantly higher values, especially when collectors building competitive registry sets search for the finest surviving examples. And when such coins appear at major auctions, they sometimes attract strong bidding due to their rarity, in top condition, and their connection to the historical period of early 1940s America. Beyond the financial aspect, the real charm of the 1942 wheat penny lies in the historical journey it represents, because this small copper coin was produced during a time when the United States faced global challenges yet continued to maintain its economic system and daily commerce. And holding an uncirculated example today allows collectors to imagine the world of the 1940s, with busy factories, railway stations, wartime posters, and communities supporting national efforts. And through this connection, the humble wheat penny becomes more than just a coin. It becomes a preserved fragment of American history, and a reminder that even the smallest piece of currency can carry a powerful story across generations of collectors, historians, and enthusiasts around the world. Next up, the Lincoln wheat penny 1-cent coin 1946 without mint mark in uncirculated condition from the United States is a remarkable example of classic American coinage, and it belongs to the historic Lincoln wheat penny series, which first appeared in 1909 to celebrate the 100th birthday of Abraham Lincoln. The coin was designed by the talented sculptor Victor David Brenner, whose portrait of Lincoln became one of the most recognized images in the history of American money. The 1946 penny without mint mark was produced at the historic Philadelphia Mint, and coins struck at this mint during that era did not carry a mint mark, which means collectors recognize the Philadelphia issue simply by the absence of a letter below the date. And the 1946 coin was created during a fascinating moment in American history, just after the end of World War II, when the United States was transitioning from wartime industry to peacetime economic growth, and during this period millions of pennies were produced to support everyday commerce across the nation. Yet collectors today search carefully for coins that remain in brilliant uncirculated condition, because such coins preserve the original mint luster, bright copper color, and sharp design details that existed when the coin first left the mint press. The design of the 1946 Lincoln wheat penny is simple, elegant, and historically meaningful because the obverse side displays the dignified portrait of Abraham Lincoln facing to the right with the inscription "In God We Trust" above the portrait, the word "Liberty" positioned on the left side, and the date 1946 placed on the right side, while the reverse side features two tall wheat stalks curving along the edges of the coin, surrounding the words 1 cent and United States of America, with the national motto "E pluribus unum" appearing above the central lettering. And this design became one of the longest-lasting and most beloved coin designs in the history of the United States, because for nearly 50 years wheat pennies circulated through towns, farms, markets, railroads, and busy city streets, becoming part of daily life for millions of Americans who used them for small purchases, savings jars, and everyday transactions. The year 1946 itself represents an important chapter in American history because it was the first full year after the end of the Second World War, when soldiers returned home, industries shifted from military production to civilian goods, and families across the country began rebuilding normal life after years of global conflict. During this period, coins such as the 1946 wheat penny quietly passed from hand to hand in grocery stores, cafes, train stations, and small neighborhood shops, symbolizing the renewal of ordinary economic activity, and although most of these pennies entered circulation and experienced years of where some coins were saved in rolls collections or bank vaults where they remained protected from circulation, allowing them to survive today in beautiful uncirculated condition. When collectors evaluate a 1946 Lincoln Wheat penny without mint mark, they pay close attention to the condition of the coin because the difference between a circulated coin and a mint-state uncirculated coin can dramatically affect its desirability and value. Experts examine the surface luster, which is the original shine created during the minting process, as well as the sharpness of the design details including the strands of Lincoln hair, the contours of the portrait, and the lines of the wheat ears on the reverse side. Coins that display strong luster, smooth surfaces, and minimal contact marks are considered superior examples, and these coins are often submitted to professional grading companies for official certification. Copper coins such as the 1946 wheat penny also develop different color classifications over time, and collectors typically describe them using three categories known as red, brown, and brown. Coins with full original red color are the most desirable because they still show the vibrant orange copper glow that existed when the coin was first struck at the mint decades ago. Red-brown coins display a mixture of original red and darker tones, while brown coins have fully aged surfaces, and although all three color types can be collectible, the bright red, uncirculated coins usually command the highest premiums in the collector market. Professional coin grading services carefully examine high-quality coins and assign official mint state grades that help determine rarity and value, and when a 1946 Lincoln Wheat penny receives a high grade such as MS-65 or higher, it often becomes especially desirable among collectors because coins with such exceptional preservation are far less common than ordinary circulated examples. Once graded, the coin is sealed in a protective holder which preserves the condition and provides authentication, allowing collectors to confidently trade, buy, or sell the coin in auctions, coin shows, and online numismatic marketplaces. The mintage of the 1946 Philadelphia wheat penny reached hundreds of millions of coins, which means that circulated pieces are still widely available. However, the population of coins surviving in pristine uncirculated condition is significantly smaller, because most pennies entered the normal flow of commerce where they experienced decades of wear, scratches, and environmental exposure. As a result, truly well preserved examples with strong luster and minimal marks have become increasingly desirable to collectors who seek the finest representatives of each date within the wheat penny series. Another fascinating aspect of the 1946 wheat penny is the manufacturing process used by the United States Mint. During the mid-20th century, copper alloy blanks called planchets were produced and polished before being fed into powerful mechanical coin presses. Engraved steel dies then struck the design of Abraham Lincoln and the wheat ears onto each coin with tremendous pressure, creating the detailed image that collectors admire today. After striking, the coins were inspected, counted, and distributed through banking systems across the country, where they entered circulation and began their journey through everyday American life. For beginner coin collectors, the 1946 Lincoln Wheat penny offers an excellent introduction to the hobby because it combines historical significance, artistic design, and the possibility of finding interesting examples in old collections, jars of coins, or inherited family savings. Many collectors enjoy searching through rolls of pennies or antique coin boxes, hoping to discover a bright, uncirculated example that has remained untouched for decades, and the excitement of such discoveries often inspires collectors to continue studying coin grading, mint history, and the broader field of numismatics. The market value of a 1946 Lincoln Wheat penny without mint mark in uncirculated condition can vary depending on grade, color, and eye appeal. Lower mint state examples may sell for only a few dollars, while coins with brilliant red color and very high certified grades can achieve significantly higher values at auctions, particularly when collectors compete for the finest known examples to complete their collections and registry sets, and because top-quality coins are much scarcer than ordinary circulated pieces. Their value has gradually increased as collector demand continues to grow beyond monetary value. The true charm of the 1946 wheat penny lies in the historical story it carries, because this small copper coin represents a moment when the United States was emerging from the hardships of global war and moving toward a period of rebuilding, growth, and optimism. Holding a bright uncirculated 1946 penny allows collectors to imagine the world of the late 1940s, with returning soldiers busy factories expanding, towns and families rebuilding everyday life, and through this connection the Humble wheat penny becomes far more than a simple coin. It becomes a preserved symbol of American history, art, and economic life, linking past generations with modern collectors who continue to admire and study these small but meaningful pieces of numismatic heritage. Next up, the Lincoln Wheat Penny 1-cent coin, 1953 D mint mark in uncirculated condition from the United States, is a fascinating part of American numismatic history, and it belongs to the famous Lincoln Wheat Penny series, which was first introduced in 1909 to celebrate the 100th anniversary of the birth of Abraham Lincoln. The coin was designed by the skilled sculptor Victor David Brenner, whose portrait of Abraham Lincoln became one of the most recognized images in the history of American currency. The 1953 D wheat penny was produced at the historic Denver Mint, and the small letter D placed beneath the date on the coin indicates that it was struck in Denver during a period of expanding American industry and economic growth, when millions of pennies were required to support everyday commerce. And although huge numbers of these coins were minted, collectors today search especially for uncirculated examples because coins that never entered circulation preserve their original copper, shine, brilliant surfaces, and sharp design details that existed on the day the coin left the mint presses, and such coins offer a beautiful glimpse into the craftsmanship and history of mid-20th century American coinage. The design of the 1953 D Lincoln Wheat Penny is both simple and historically meaningful because the obverse side shows the dignified portrait of Abraham Lincoln facing right with the inscription "In God We Trust" placed above the portrait, the word "Liberty" positioned to the left, and the date 1953 with the D mint mark located just beneath the year, while the reverse side features two graceful wheat stalks curving along the edges of the coin surrounding the words 1 cent and United States of America, with the national motto E pluribus unum placed above the center, and this elegant design remained on American pennies for nearly 50 years, becoming one of the most familiar coins in daily life, as people used wheat pennies in grocery stores, markets, newsstands, and vending machines across towns and cities throughout the country. The year 1953 itself represents an interesting period in American history because the nation was experiencing strong economic development, technological progress, and cultural change during the early years of the Cold War, and during this time, everyday coins such as the 1953 D wheat penny quietly circulated through the American economy, passing from hand to hand in shops, restaurants, and transportation systems. And although most coins experienced years of wear and handling, a small number remained carefully stored in bank rolls, collections, or savings jars where they avoided circulation and survived in the beautiful uncirculated condition that collectors admire today. When collectors evaluate a 1953 D Lincoln Wheat Penny in uncirculated condition, they carefully study the luster, color, and preservation of the coin because copper coins naturally change color over time, and collectors classify them into three main color groups known as red, brown, and brown. Coins with full red color are considered the most desirable because they still display the vibrant orange copper brilliance that the coin possessed when it was freshly struck at the mint decades ago, and collectors also examine the sharpness of the strike, the clarity of Lincoln hair details, and the strength of the wheat ears on the reverse because coins with crisp features and smooth surfaces are more likely to receive higher grades and greater collector interest. Professional grading companies often evaluate exceptional coins and assign official mint state grades which help determine the condition, rarity, and value of the piece. Once a 1953 D wheat penny is graded, it is typically sealed in a protective holder that preserves the coin and provides authentication, allowing collectors to confidently buy, sell, or trade the coin at auctions, coin shows, and online numismatic markets. And when a coin receives a strong grade such as MS-65 or higher, collectors often become particularly interested because coins with such preservation are far less common than ordinary circulated pennies. The mintage of the 1953 D wheat penny reached hundreds of millions of coins, which means that circulated examples are still relatively common. However, the number of coins surviving in pristine uncirculated condition is significantly smaller because most coins entered daily circulation where they experienced scratches, wear, and environmental exposure during decades of use, and this natural process gradually reduced the population of high-grade coins, making well-preserved mint state examples increasingly valuable as collectors compete to acquire the finest surviving specimens. Another fascinating aspect of the 1953D wheat penny is the process by which it was manufactured. Copper alloy blanks known as planchets were produced and polished before being fed into powerful mechanical presses where engraved steel dies struck the Lincoln portrait and wheat ear design onto each coin with tremendous pressure, creating the detailed images visible on both sides. After the coins were struck, they were inspected, counted, and distributed through banks across the United States where they entered the national circulation system and began their long journey through everyday commerce. For beginner coin collectors, the 1953D Lincoln wheat penny provides an excellent opportunity to explore the world of numismatics because many people search through old jars of coins, inherited collections, and bankrolls hoping to discover bright uncirculated examples that still show original luster and strong design details, and the excitement of finding such coins encourages collectors to learn more about coin grading, mint history, and preservation techniques while building their own collections of historic wheat pennies. The market value of a 1953D Lincoln wheat penny in uncirculated condition can vary depending on grade, color, and overall appeal. Coins with lower mint state grades may sell for modest prices, while coins with brilliant red surfaces and higher certified grades can achieve significantly higher values, especially when collectors building registry sets compete for the finest known examples and when particularly exceptional coins appear at auctions. They sometimes attract strong bidding due to their rarity and beauty within the wheat penny series. Beyond its financial value, the true charm of the 1953D wheat penny lies in the historical story it represents, because this small copper coin connects modern collectors with the everyday life of the early 1950s, when people carried pocket change for newspapers, bus fares, and small purchases in neighborhood stores, and holding an uncirculated example today allows collectors to imagine the moment when the coin was first struck at the Denver Mint, shining with fresh copper luster before beginning its long journey through American history. And through this connection, the humble wheat penny becomes more than a simple coin. It becomes a preserved symbol of art, craftsmanship, and the enduring legacy of United States coinage that continues to inspire collectors around the world. Next up, the Lincoln wheat penny 1-cent coin, 1956D mint mark in uncirculated condition from the United States, is an important piece of American coin collecting history, and it belongs to the famous Lincoln wheat penny series, which began in 1909 to celebrate the 100th birthday of Abraham Lincoln, and the coin was designed by the skilled sculptor Victor David Brenner, whose portrait of Lincoln became one of the most recognizable images in American currency. The 1956D wheat penny was produced at the historic Denver Mint, and the small letter D beneath the date shows that the coin was struck in Denver during a time when the United States economy was expanding rapidly and millions of pennies were required for everyday commerce across the country. And although enormous numbers of these coins were minted, collectors today still search carefully for examples that remain in brilliant uncirculated condition, because coins that never entered circulation preserve their original copper shine, strong mint luster, and sharp design details that reveal the true beauty of this historic American coin. The design of the 1956D Lincoln wheat penny is both simple and timeless, because the obverse side features the dignified portrait of Abraham Lincoln facing to the right with the words "In God We Trust" appearing above the portrait, the word "Liberty" placed to the left side, and the date 1956 with a small D mint mark beneath the year, while the reverse side displays two graceful wheat stalks curving along the edges of the coin surrounding the words 1 cent and United States of America, with the national motto E pluribus unum above the central lettering. And this elegant arrangement of design elements remained unchanged for nearly half a century, making the wheat penny one of the longest-running and most beloved designs in the history of United States coinage. The year 1956 represents a fascinating time in American history, because the nation was experiencing strong economic growth, technological innovation, and cultural transformation. During the post-war era, families were purchasing new homes, automobiles, and household appliances, while cities expanded and highways connected communities across the country. And throughout this period, the humble copper penny continued to circulate widely in daily transactions, passing from hand to hand in grocery stores, restaurants, train stations, and neighborhood shops. And although most pennies experienced years of wear and handling, a small number were preserved in rolls, collections, or savings jars, allowing them to survive today in beautiful uncirculated condition. When collectors examine a 1956D Lincoln wheat penny in uncirculated condition, they carefully study several important characteristics, including luster, color, and surface preservation, because copper coins gradually change color as they age, and collectors usually classify them into three color categories known as red, brown, and brown. Coins with full red color are considered the most desirable because they still display the vibrant orange copper brilliance that the coin possessed when it was first struck at the mint decades ago. Collectors also look closely at the strength of the strike, the sharpness of Lincoln hair details, and the clarity of the wheat ears on the reverse, because coins with crisp details, smooth surfaces, and minimal contact marks are more likely to achieve higher grades and greater collector interest. Professional coin grading companies play an important role in the modern numismatic market by examining coins and assigning official mint state grades that describe their condition, rarity, and authenticity. Once a 1956 D wheat penny receives a grade, it is sealed within a protective holder that helps preserve the coin and provides confidence to collectors who buy, sell, or trade these coins in auctions, coin shows, and online marketplaces. And when a coin receives a strong grade such as MS65 or higher, collectors often become particularly interested, because coins with such exceptional preservation are much less common than ordinary circulated examples. The mintage of the 1956 D Lincoln wheat penny reached more than 1 billion coins, which means that circulated pieces remain fairly common today. However, the number of coins surviving in pristine uncirculated condition is far smaller, because most pennies entered everyday circulation where they experienced scratches, wear, and environmental exposure over many years of use, and as time passed the population of high-grade coins gradually declined, making well-preserved mint state examples more desirable among collectors who search for the finest representatives of each date within the wheat penny series. Another fascinating aspect of the 1956 D wheat penny is the manufacturing process used by the United States Mint. During the mid-20th century, copper alloy blanks known as planchets were carefully prepared, polished, and fed into powerful mechanical presses. Engraved steel dies then struck the Lincoln portrait and wheat ear design onto each coin with tremendous pressure, producing the detailed images that collectors admire today. After striking, the coins were inspected, counted, and distributed through the national banking system, where they entered circulation and became part of everyday American economic life. For new coin collectors, the 1956 D Lincoln wheat penny offers an exciting introduction to the hobby, because many people search through jars of old coins, inherited collections, or rolls of pennies from banks, hoping to discover bright uncirculated examples that still display original luster and sharp design details. And when such coins are found, the excitement of discovery encourages collectors to learn more about coin grading. Mint marks preservation and the broader world of numismatics, where history, art, and treasure hunting come together. The market value of a 1956 D Lincoln wheat penny in uncirculated condition can vary depending on grade, color, and eye appeal. Coins with lower mint state grades may sell for modest amounts, while coins with brilliant red surfaces and higher certified grades can achieve significantly higher values, especially when collectors compete to acquire the finest known examples for their collections and registry sets, and as a result, the highest quality specimens sometimes bring impressive prices when they appear at major coin auctions. Beyond its financial value, the true appeal of the 1956 D wheat penny lies in the historical story it carries, because this small copper coin represents a moment in the prosperous era of the 1950s, when American communities were growing, industries were expanding, and everyday life was changing rapidly. Holding an uncirculated example today allows collectors to imagine the moment when the coin was first struck at the Denver Mint, shining with fresh copper brilliance before beginning its long journey through American history. And through this connection, the humble wheat penny becomes far more than a simple coin. It becomes a preserved symbol of art, craftsmanship, and the enduring legacy of United States coinage that continues to inspire collectors and historians around the world. Thanks for watching.